This is a recording of the parents' presentation that was delivered on Wednesday evening. UCAS is the body that we use in order to make our university applications. The students will have registered with this on Monday or sometime this week. UCAS is basically the organisation that manages the applications, so students send off their university application to UCAS. They process it and deal with the universities. The universities send them the offers, and then UCAS updates their information there. It's really important to remember that UCAS does operate under GDPR rules, so that if a student forgets their login or needs to deal with UCAS in any way, it needs to come from them, and school and yourselves can't get involved. It does need to come from the student. So in terms of what the students need to do next year, it's not like at the end of year 11. They can go through any of those 5 options, including just going out straight into employment. But obviously, listening to this, we are interested in higher education and apprenticeships. Students need to register with what's called the UCAS Hub, which is a mine of information and videos and notification, course information, chatting to student ambassadors about a wide variety of issues around higher education. Most students will apply for a foundation degree or an undergraduate degree. There are degree apprenticeships, higher level apprenticeships, which means that you would get your degree while you are working for an organisation, and we will look at these in a bit more detail. Going back to the UCAS Hub, so there is lots of information, and it's really important that students now begin the process of researching the exact university and course that they want to go on to study at. In terms of those kind of questions, they need to be thinking about what and why they are going to study, where and what type of course they will apply to. Again, going back to the UCAS Hub, lots of information about different types of courses, about different types of universities and employers and apprenticeships, and they have it in lots of different ways. So you can have videos, you can do quizzes, you can chat to people online, student ambassadors. You can take quizzes that sort of help you to kind of narrow down your choices. And there are events on there as well as live events such as open days that we would encourage students to go to. When they register for an open day, they just come and tell us, and they will get their register mark for that day. Personal statement is really important, and we'll look at this in more detail later on, but there is a personal statement builder that helps them to come up with some drafts of their personal statements. So if we just spend a little bit of time looking at apprenticeships, lots of them out there in terms of different employment areas, different industries. Probably should be looking at level 4 and above. So level 4 might be a HND going up to level 6, where they will get their degree, and level 7 will be the masters. One of the main differences between applying for a high level apprenticeship and to university is that the apprenticeships are offered throughout the year, and there is no real definite date the way there is for university. It's a question of logging on to the apprenticeship.gov.uk website and seeing when the employers have their deadlines, or contacting employers direct, and most of them are very good at advertising their own open evenings and things on their own websites. Again, back to the UCAS Hub, you can find lots of information out there on apprenticeships and how to go about applying for them. So in terms of applying direct to university, 2 main dates there to look at. 15th of October is the deadline for medicine, veterinary science, dentistry and Oxford or Cambridge, and then the 29th of January is the final deadline for all other applications. We do encourage the students at school though to try to get everything done by Christmas. It's another thing out the way, and it also allows us to have time to put the references up, and we're not rushing or trying to get anybody's application off at the last minute. In terms of some facts, universities can't see where else they apply, so it's a blind application. To make it fair, you can make up to 5 choices. It doesn't have to be 5 choices. You can send the form off and then add choices at a later date. The only exception to this is medicine, veterinary science and dentistry. Then it's 4 choices, and you can only apply to Oxford or Cambridge. Once you get to the end of the form, the process is going to cost £28.50 to send it off. So we've been through with students some of the things to think about, the type of university that they want to go to. We have, from the Russell Group, academic research based, to smaller universities, campus or city universities, large or small ones. And then as part of the research, the universities are allowed to set their own syllabuses and things like that, and examinations and assessments. And so it is important, going back to this research, that they look at what the university is offering on their degree course in terms of topics, opportunities to travel or do a 3rd year as a sandwich year or do a 3rd year abroad, as well as how the course is taught in terms of big style lectures, smaller seminars. You're assessed on a credit based system, whereby each piece of work you do builds your grade over 2 or 3 years, or are you going to be assessed at exams at the end of the year. In terms of the UCAS application, you fill it all in, you then send it to us at school. We will then do your reference and predicted grades. It gets sent once you're happy, so the student gets to see the full reference and predicted grades before it gets sent off, and then you sit back and wait for the university to send you the offers. You do link to school, so there's a buzzword, Maricourt 25 with a capital M, and then that links you to the school. As you can see there, lots of different sections, mainly factual based. Some of them are gathering statistics, so the diversity and inclusion and more about you. Contains questions about things like gender and ethnicity and background, occupational background of parents and things like that. And that is just for the government to gather statistics. That will not form part of the offer in any way. Neither will any information that you disclose about disabilities. That is just there so that the university can make access arrangements, and again, it will not affect the offer. So obviously you upload all of your education, so that has to include every qualification that you've done. That includes any U grades, 1s, 2s and 3s, the GCSE, any AS levels, so for example further maths AS, as well as your A levels with a grade of pending, so that allows us to upload predicted grades. It does ask about employment as well, so part-time jobs go in there. Probably the next most important thing after your qualifications is the personal statement. 4,000 characters or a side of A4 to give you the opportunity to sell yourself. Really have a go. Just give us a draft. It will take 3 or 4 drafts to get this right. No one gets it right first time. First paragraph is really important. The first paragraph is the reason you want to study the course. And so you really need to make sure that you have it in your mind why it is you want to study the course, what topics you're interested in, people you've read about, books you've read, podcasts you've listened to, films, documentaries you've seen. It really does need to be the hook, that first paragraph. So they are interested in knowing all about why you're interested in the course, what you already know about the subject area, and any skills, any enthusiasm that you can display where you've gone beyond the syllabus. So, you know, if you're going to study art, have you been to any exhibitions? Have you read some of the stuff that's out there that's not as involved in your A-level studies. So, you know, have you read some of the business books? Have you looked at some of the theories in geography that you've studied in class, but then have you taken it that little bit further and looked at some extra? The university will then obviously be interested in how you come across as motivated and how you've studied independently. So again, this needs to go into your personal statement. So some idea of your skills such as critical analysis, wider reading, your reliability, your commitment, all need, along with examples, all needs to go in as part of the 4,000 characters. So again, on the UCAS Hub, on the UCAS site, there is lots of information. Please do not use any AI or ChatGPT. There is a statement on the personal statements where you have to declare that it is your own work. They will put it through detection software. So if you do Google, for example, personal statement to study English at Leeds, you will get one, but then the university will more than likely refuse because they know it's come from the internet and it's not your own work. So use the personal statement builder on the UCAS website. So the university will definitely look on the left hand side at your personal statements and your qualifications and your reference. So again, look at as part of your research, look at the UCAS website and the university website so that you know that you are suitably qualified for the course. So some of them will ask you for particular grades at GCSE. Some of them will ask that you are studying particular A-levels. So rather than waste an option, make sure that you fit the qualification criteria. We will write your reference, but they may also invite you for interviews, certainly medicine, teaching, nursing, some of the more vocational degrees, some of the words degrees that lead into a particular job, they'll ask you for an interview. Some universities will ask you for an admissions test, so certainly Oxford and Cambridge will ask you for admissions tests, but some of the other courses might also ask you for them as well. And some of the more arts and performance based courses will ask you to maybe attend an audition or send in some examples of your work. Once you've sent all your form off, you will get one of 3 offers. So that will either be unconditional, so they want you, and as long as you pass your A-levels, you're in. They will give you a conditional offer. These are the most popular offers. So this is, you need to get 3 Bs or so many points, or you might be unsuccessful, in which case they will normally offer you a line or 2 as to why your application didn't meet their criteria. Then you make a firm and insurance choice. This is well into February, March of year 13, so you don't need to worry about that just yet, but out of your 5 choices, you only actually take 2 choices through. So by this time next year, you will only be sitting on 2 choices. If you get 5 rejections or you have a complete change of mind, then you can use what's called UCAS Extra, which gives you the opportunity to make 1 more choice. So in terms of your steps, you must do some research, attend the open days. So this next half term, most of the universities, if not all, will have open days. You need to go, have a look round, get a feel for the place, ask some questions, sit in on some lectures and talks. Think about extracurricular or supercurricular activities. So what are you doing that's going to make your personal statement look a bit better? Have you read some books? Have you done some MOOCs? Have you listened to some podcasts, which is easily done over the summer holidays? Work experience and volunteering, certainly if you went into sort of teaching or nursing, this would be a minimal expectation that you've got some work experience and volunteering, but it always looks good, and it doesn't necessarily have to be volunteering in the exact industry that you're going into. So for example, if you're going into police or social work, nursing, they're looking that you've worked with people. It doesn't matter who the people are or in what context. They are looking for some sort of volunteering or work experience with people. Any independent learning you've done outside of your studies. So what have you done that's a bit extra? So in there you can include any trips, those of you who went to CERN, anything that you've done with geography and other such subjects like that. In terms of your personal statement, have a go. make sure that you've had a go at it before the summer holidays, and you can only write one personal statement. So if you are really stuck between two subjects, then you really need to make sure that you choose your one subject before much longer, because you can only write one personal statement. All the information, all UCAS, is all over social media, and like I said before, this is all GDPR regulated. So if something is wrong with your application, or you've got a query about your application, then it's the student, it's you that needs to contact UCAS, and those details are all on their website. So that's basically a run through of the presentation. It's now over to you to have a go at your personal statements and start to register. And if you're listening to this as a parent and you have any questions, then please do not hesitate to contact us at school. Okay, thank you very much for listening.